Good morning. This lecture video is going to go over the organization of our nervous system. So our nervous system is our master control and communication system of the body. So every single thought, every single action, every single emotion that you have is a result of its activity. It's very complex and amazingly fast. It uses electrical impulses to interpret and to respond to what's happening inside of the body, and also to take in information from outside of the body to ultimately maintain homeostasis. That's the job of the nervous system, is to make sure that everything is running the way that it needs to be. And if a value or something becomes off the normal range or outside of the normal range, then the nervous system is going to elicit a response in order to bring it back into a normal range. So this is really our homeostasis system. The nervous system is made of your brain and your spinal cord, also your sensory organs, so eyeballs, ears, thermoreceptors, pain receptors, and then nerves. These are going to connect all of the different components of the nervous system together throughout the body. The primary function is three things: sensory input, integration, and motor output. And we talked about this way back in week 1 when we talked about the mechanisms of homeostasis. So sensory input is basically going to involve taking information in, using your senses, then having your nervous system integrate that information. What is it that you see? What is it that you smell? And then make decisions about things that may need to be done, and then send that information out to muscles or glands, which will do something. So either move or secrete something or respond in some way. So getting the stimulus in, interpreting that stimulus, and then eliciting a response in the body. The best example of these three things is to talk about a stoplight. So when you're driving down the road and you start to see a yellow light, you have kind of two choices. Like, you can see it, so the sensory input is seeing the light, whether it's yellow or whether it's red or whether it's green. And then the integration part is recognizing, okay, I see the light up ahead is yellow, so I know that means it's going to turn red soon, which means I have to stop. So if I see a yellow light, then I have two choices. I can stick my foot hard on that accelerator and try to go through it, or I can put my foot on the brake and stop, knowing that the red light is coming. And the motor output then is whatever the brain then tells you to do. So either slamming on the accelerator or slamming on the brake. So sensory input, bringing the information in, integration, interpreting that information, making a decision about what needs to be done, and then motor output is the response that will happen. The nervous system is divided into two main categories. So the central nervous system, or the CNS, and the components of that are your brain and your spinal cord. And then the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS, which is going to include all of your nerves outside of the central nervous system. So when we look specifically at the central nervous system, we're looking at, this is kind of like the integration and command center, right? So this is your brain, right? It's going to take in all conscious, all subconscious, sensory information. It's going to make decisions. It's going to initiate the response in order to maintain homeostasis. It is the boss applesauce, right? Like, this is going to be what is going to make decisions and really carry out those three parts of sensory input: the integration and the motor output. The peripheral nervous system basically is going to link all of the different parts of the body by carrying impulses from the sensory receptors to the central nervous system, and then from the central nervous system to glands or muscles. So, for instance, that central nervous system is going to make decisions, it's going to integrate it, but it needs to get that information. And so the peripheral nervous system is going to be kind of the roads or the pathways that are going to provide or get the information to the central nervous system so decisions can be made. And then once those decisions are made, the peripheral nervous system will kind of be the roadway to get those information to the muscles and the glands. So I always kind of think of the peripheral nervous systems as like the roads that are connecting these main pieces: the spinal cord, the sensory organs, the brain, the muscles, the organs. Your peripheral nervous system is further divided then into a sensory or afferent division and a motor or efferent divisions. And again, just kind of look at the words to help you think about what these two divisions do. So sensory or the afferent divisions are going to be those nerves that carry information to the central nervous system. So again, I see the red light, I see the yellow light. My eye is taking in that information, and then it's going to send that information to the brain through the afferent division or afferent nerves. The motor or efferent division is then going to carry information from the CNS to the motor muscles and the glands, right? So sensory is bringing the information to the CNS, motor is taking it away from the CNS. And here's a flow chart: peripheral nervous system, sensory, motor, and then sensory division is going to include your sense organs. Motor division is going to include or be further divided into the somatic and the autonomic nervous systems. Each of those two divisions then are going to have different roles. So the somatic division is going to allow conscious or voluntary control of skeletal muscles. This is going to include your reflexes. And then the autonomic is going to regulate events that are automatic or involuntary. So smooth and cardiac muscles and glands. And then your autonomic division is actually further divided into two categories called the sympathetic, which is kind of our fight or flight system, and the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest system. So that's kind of how the nervous system is actually organized, going from the nervous system, central nervous system, and peripheral. And then peripheral is further divided then into sensory or motor divisions, and then the motor divisions further divided into somatic and autonomic, and then the autonomic is further divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic.